Yo, once again, it's on. Back at you one more again, Real Kens TV and the house like kitchen sinks. Oh, what a week, man. What a week. First, my Dallas Cowboys blow it to the Saints. Congratulations to the Saints. Y'all played an excellent game. And last night, we get the breaking news that everybody in the whole world presumably knows about. P. Diddy taken into federal custody, last night at some point, man. Now, before we get into this afternoon story, if you will, understand that I'm the self-proclaimed Mr. 30 Minutes or Better. Meaning that anytime I bring you a video or story, it's guaranteed to be at least 30 minutes or longer. So you're on your way to work, you're at work, you don't feel like being there, as we most of the time so often don't. You're on your way home from work, you need to laugh, you need to cry. Maybe you need to lay down, take a nap, you're trying to go to sleep at night, depending on whatever time you're viewing or listening to this video. Or you're just in the mood for a good old-fashioned true, keyword being true, penitentiary / real life story / experience. This is the channel for you. If you prefer the 8, 10, 12-minute videos, 15-minute videos, absolutely nothing wrong with that. But at Real Kens TV, it's 30 minutes or better. Now, with all that being said, there is a message. Typically, I tell a story, but I really want to touch bases, if you will, on this whole P. Diddy situation, this whole arrest, and I will never put a person down, especially when they're going through something like this. It's so easy to assume that an individual is guilty for the simple fact that, the media gets a hold of it and they put these terrible things out. And it's almost as though you don't really get a fair opportunity in court because you're already convicted in the opinion of the public opinion, however you want to, slice it or dice it, if you will. Prime example, you go back to last year when Jay Williams was going through his entire ordeal. Free Jay Williams. Jay Williams got less than 60 days to the world, man. Free Jay Williams, man. But I watched so many people show Jay Williams love as he was going through his ordeal. But at the same time, I watched a whole lot of individuals flip on him just as well. Why? Because the reports came out in the media. See, when the reports come out in the media, it's like, oh, he did this, and then he turned around and did that, and he ran. So you are able to, it's like, okay, you form an opinion in your mind like, man, I thought this guy was, he turned his life around. I thought this guy was a changed man. No, you thought this guy was perfect. You thought this guy was an angel. But when you seen these reports, it's like, whoa. Let me rethink, what I once thought of this individual. The point that I'm making is anytime a report comes out, doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. It's a report. Now, sometimes it is true. Don't get me wrong. But oftentimes it's not true. I've talked about this in several of my videos, how when the police arrest you, it's as though they're being very, very overzealous, and they overcharge you quite often. You may get pulled over for this, but then they're going to say, okay, well, you had these illegal drugs in the car. Okay, and that's illegal. You shouldn't have illegal drugs in the car. So now you're facing, 1 to 5. Let's just say in Kentucky, 1 to 5, or maybe even 5 to 10. Oh, and he had a gun? So it's another 5 to 10. And he tried to run? That's another 1 to 5. And he had marijuana? That's another 1 to 5. Marijuana's not legal in Kentucky. Oh, and he had some pills that wasn't in the right, container or the, prescription bottle. That's another 1 to 5. Oh, this is a second felony in the last 10 years. Now it's a sentence enhancement to where you're facing an additional 5 to 10 on the sentence enhancement. So when you look at all of those charges off of one single stop, one single, traffic stop, if you will, this individual's facing 50, 60 years. So when you look at that, it's like, whoa, he must have really, really done something. When in all actuality, it's one single course of conduct. You shouldn't be facing any more than whatever the highest charge carries. But see, they don't tell you that. So if you haven't gone through the system, you're not really going to know. The charges are just going to make it look as though you're an animal. Look at R. Kelly. I definitely don't condone what R. Kelly did. messing with those younger ladies like that, girls. I definitely don't condone that whatsoever. But see, what the feds do, they can pretty much make a case out of anything. So they're going to say, okay, we didn't get him on this, so we'll double back and get him on that. Crossing state lines is a bad MF. Because anytime you cross state lines, it's though you're committing a crime in the eyes of the feds. You want to have a good time, you fly some women in, totally consensual. You give all of them, $1,000 for their time, 2,000-3,000, however many women it is, and however much that, you give them or whatever they charge. But because you cross state lines, guess what? Now they're going to charge you with human trafficking, sex trafficking, because you cross state lines. See, there's so many things that people, it's as though you commit a crime sometimes and not even know and understand that you're committing a crime. So therefore, you take a R. Kelly, as I, was speaking about, he's going to beat these charges. Now, he's not going to give the entire sentence back. Now, when I say give the sentence back, meaning he will appeal it, and the 30-year sentence will probably end up turning into about an 8, maybe 10-year sentence. So I would say R. Kelly will be home within the next 2-3 years. Appeals process, they take a while. But to my knowledge, he has Bill Cosby's lawyers on the case. And another situation in which R. Kelly was overcharged. The government, they know that they're overcharging these individuals. And they know that when you go to court, that appeals court, or potentially these cases can be overturned, but it doesn't matter, man. It's a smear campaign. R. Kelly's name is already smeared. He's missed out on millions of dollars. He's been incarcerated for, 4 or 5 years at this point. So at the end of the day, who really wins and who really loses? Yeah, he doesn't get the 30 years doesn't stick, but yet by the time this is all said and done, you've done 8, 9, 10 years in the system. The message has been made very loud and clear. Same thing with Bill Cosby. I just mentioned him. This man went to prison, should have never gone to prison. Spent 3 years in the pen? For something that supposedly happened back in the 80s, the 70s and the 80s, and the individual that he already paid off was not even supposed to be able to testify. The prosecution knew it, but yet they allowed her testimony anyway. And this man went to prison for 3 years. It's always a smear campaign when it comes to certain individuals. And I'm going to just leave it at that. I'm not going to get into, anything racial or anything like that. But it seems to always be a smear campaign when it comes to certain successful individuals. Take this P. Diddy situation. I was very disappointed, because 50 Cent, man, he's one of my favorite artists. He doesn't really make music at this point, but 50 Cent is an individual that I love to listen to because he really gives you a whole lot of knowledge and game and wisdom. But I was very disappointed in how this whole thing unfolded, if you will. Meaning that I understand you and P. Diddy don't necessarily get along. I understand that there's some things, underlying things that have happened that perhaps the public doesn't have full knowledge of. But when you're publicly calling for an individual to be arrested, to me, that just goes way, way overboard. Yeah, you can say this and say that in the media, but once the police get involved and a potential federal indictment is on the horizons, that's when you stop. That's when you leave it alone. But 50 just kept going and kept going and kept going, kept making jokes, kept putting up posts or what have you. Now, I'm not saying that because of the things that 50 Cent said or posted is the reason why P. Diddy is in custody at this point. But people listen. 50 has a following. Millions and millions of people listen to 50 Cent. They watch 50 Cent. Court of public opinion. Now, obviously, the video that P. Diddy had in which he was, beating his former girlfriend up, Cassie. No, that was, horrific to watch. No woman deserves that. No person, period, deserves that. But especially a woman at the hands of a man. But we got to call a spade a spade. Let's keep it real. A lot of these individuals that had something to say, oh, man, that's terrible, man. F P. Diddy, and I don't rock with P. Diddy. Lil Boosie, you have the nerves to say something like that? When I've heard a video that's circulating online of you not only talking so crazy to your daughter's mother and the daughter, essentially you was threatening her. You talked about how her brother lost his life. And she was saying basically that you are the cause of my brother losing his life. And you know, you just have to hear the video. But he talked so crazy to that woman. Threatened her, all type of things. So you can't tell me that you haven't done anything like that. Now, this is just in my opinion. I'm not saying that Lil Boosie has. I'm just saying a lot of individuals have a problem with keeping their hands to themselves. A lot of individuals put their hands on women. And again, I don't condone that whatsoever. A man should never put his hands on a woman. But at the same time, you all have something to say about P. Diddy, knowing that a lot of you all, not all of you all, a lot of you all do the exact same thing and have done the exact same thing. Only difference is it's not on video. That's the difference. So you have these people that it seems as though it's a celebration that P. Diddy has been charged by the feds and essentially is fighting for his life. He's about to be 55 years old this year. Only got a few months left in this year. And it's like a celebration that P. Diddy has been charged. And I think that that's sad. I think that that's so sad. Does he deserve to do some time for that beating that he had, horrific, unnecessary beating that he put on Cassie? Absolutely. This was in 2016. It doesn't matter if it was in 2006, if it was in 96. He deserves to do some time for that, you know, what he did to her. But at the same time, it's like, because everybody has seen that, it's like, oh man, he must be guilty of racketeering, sex trafficking, two totally different scenarios. Beating someone up is bad, it's terrible. But I don't believe he deserves a life sentence or a potential life sentence for that. And I just fear for P. Diddy that because of this video, a lot of people are already going to have him convicted. He'll never get a fair trial because they're thinking about this horrific video of him beating the brakes off of a young lady. The relationship seemed to be a tumultuous relationship, if you will. It seems as though they were both violent towards each other. Again, I'm going to reiterate, I am not saying that it was justified as far as putting your hands on a woman. Never. So you got this Gene Deal character, man. And I actually watched Gene Deal. I like his new intro, the Gene Deal Show. You know, I like his intro that he has. Whoever made that song is hot, man. So this is not a diss video in any means, but it's one of those things to where I'm highly disappointed in Gene Deal, man. If you all not familiar, Gene Deal is a former security. Actually, he was a parole officer for 27 years in the state of New York. The district, however you want to put it. I'm not from there, so I don't know exactly how they label it, but he was a parole officer for 27 years. And he also did security for Diddy, Bad Boy. Now, since this whole situation has been in the public, I've watched this man do interview after interview after interview. Paid interview, keyword paid. He tells you right off top, I don't do interviews for free. So he continues to go on this platform, and this platform continues to have him on because they do huge numbers. And he tells stories about P. Diddy, experience after experience. A lot of the things that he's seen unfold and transpire while he was working security at Bad Boy Records. He talked about all the times that he's seen P. Diddy beat different women. Beat one woman up under the car. Broke another woman's nose. Broke another woman's arm. Beat Cass. He's seen all of these things. But yet he continued to work for P. Diddy. So as I mentioned, he's told all of these different stories. But I noticed that today, when he went live, I watched this live earlier, he's kind of marching to the beat of a different drum now. He's marching to the beat of a different drum because earlier it was like, yeah, P. Diddy this, P. Diddy that. Now and all of a sudden it's Well, yeah, they found the AR-15 and machine guns or what have you in P Diddy's home, but they weren't actually assembled, so he shouldn't be charged with that because there was no imminent threat because you had one part, certain parts in one room, certain parts in the other room. See, now all of a sudden that the prosecutor says that what did he say? There will be potentially rather more charges for other individuals and other charges just in general for P. Diddy. You worked for him. So now it's it can't be me because after 2009, I didn't work for them anymore. Yeah, but the indictment is going, I think he said 2011. The indictment is going all the way back to 2008. See, you've already gotten on these platforms that millions of people watch daily and admitted that you watched P. Diddy do some horrific things and never did anything about it. But all of a sudden today it's, oh man, he did this. And once I seen that, I never came back to Bad Boy to work for P. Diddy again. Interesting. Because you wasn't saying that all these months where you doing your paid interviews. You wasn't saying that then. But now all of a sudden, you've seen that federal prosecutor say that there will be other individuals potentially, charged. Now you want to reiterate the fact that, I didn't do this. It's already out there. It's already written. It's in the air. You already said it. See, a lot of times people get on the internet and they just talk too much. They talk too much. They talk about all the things that they've done, all the things and certain things are not to be discussed. Loose lips break relationships. That's why in my stories, I talk about other people's stories. I talk about my stories just as well, but everything is not to be put on the internet. Some things you just don't never talk about ever. There are certain things that just never need to come up. But this fame, it goes to people's head. You got 100, 200, 300,000 people that are subscribing to your channel. So you really feel as though you're a celebrity. You really feel as though you're really important. I've always told myself this will never go to my head. I don't care how many subscribers. I don't care if I look up and I got 500,000. I will never allow this to go to my head. I hate the fact that I can't answer all of my comments now. It's just getting to the point to where, when my channel, and I'm still a small channel, but when I was a lot smaller, it was easier to answer all the comments. But now it's getting to the point to where you can't really answer every single comment. And I hate that. I hate that. So I'm looking at the charges that they, filed against Diddy. And I know exactly where they're going with it. I know exactly where they're going with it. I've been been a part of 2 indictments in which I've served time for both of them already. Didn't get away with anything. Actually got overcharged and probably over-sentenced and did too much time. What they'll do is they'll come in and they'll say, okay, we're going to hit you with a conspiracy. You don't even have to necessarily do anything, but you conspired to do this. And they'll hit you with the RICO Act. Now, in the state of Kentucky, it's not called the RICO Act in the state. In the feds, it is. But in the state of Kentucky, it's called, in the state, it's organized crime, criminal syndicate. 5 or more people that's operating a criminal enterprise on a continuous basis. Now, they don't say how, exactly how long continuous is. A continuous basis could be 30 days, 2 weeks. It's continuous according to the law. And typically what they'll do is, like for instance, on one of my indictments, it was 13 people. Well, they had me at the top of the indictment. I'm the guy that's, making the counterfeit and the checks and dispersing them out to 3 other individuals that were right below me on the chart that they had. And those individuals were considered as recruiters. And what they would do is, according to the indictment, they would go out and find these individuals to take this counterfeit and to cash these counterfeit checks. They would get a small amount of money. According to the individuals, they're cashing $5,000 checks, $4,000 checks, and they're getting $100, $50. That's what they said. Some people I'm looking in court, I don't even know, never seen a day in my life. And they're pointing me out. Yeah, that's the guy right there. I've never laid eyes on you, lady. I've never laid eyes on you, sir. But guess what? The detectives believed him. The police believed him. The police know that they was full of, they was BS. And police are not stupid. They're very, very smart. They've gone to school, detectives, and they've gone to school. But they understand that we want the bigger fish. We want you. So the only reason that they even indicted these individuals in my case, and in every case, is so that if one person said you did it, you could probably win at trial. If two people said you did it, you could still probably win at trial. Maybe even three people. You got a great lawyer, the evidence is kind of sketchy, But when you got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people, 10 people, and they're all pointing the finger and saying, yeah, he did it. That man right there. He gave me the checks. He gave me the counterfeit. He drove me around. He forced me to do it. He told me if I didn't do it, then he was going to have something done to me. And I did all of that, and he only gave me $50. He only gave me $100. See, they buy that. And that's what happened in my situation. As I mentioned, these individuals I've never even seen or talked to. Y'all let me know if you're rocking with me, man. Where you chiming in? Where you tuning in from? Let me know in the comment section, man. Where you rocking with real kids? Where you at? Throw your sets up. And so I understand exactly what P. Diddy is going through. Now, when I say what he's going through, not to make him the victim, he could be the victim. Although there are victims such as Cassie, such as the other individuals that he put his hands on, they're also victims. But that doesn't mean that P. Diddy's not a victim as well of being overcharged. You seen the situation with O.J. Simpson. He goes to trial and he clearly beats the case, not guilty. But guess what? He loses a $30 million civil trial. And later on down the line, he still ended up getting 30-something years for some dumb stuff that he did. He kind of deserved that. OJ put that on himself. The things that you do in the past, they will always catch up with you. And so while P. Diddy may not have done these horrific things that they're charging him with, a lot of people said that P. Diddy was a jerk. Said that P. Diddy was violent. Said that P. Diddy didn't care about anything else and he used his money to manipulate people and situations. And I believe that. I believe that. Maybe I'm wrong for judging. I watched the show Making the Band and I seen how he made people, walk downtown to get him some cheesecake and walk across the bridge. And come on, P. Diddy, man. These people are not on here to be your assistants. They're on the show in hopes of having their careers advanced and being discovered as artists. But you have them doing things that have nothing to do with being an artist whatsoever. So I see that the guy's cocky. I see that the guy is very, very flamboyant. But the whole situation to where he was forcing individuals to have what they called freak-offs. Yeah, they was doing the most, man. There was a bunch of people in the room, man, and had different rooms and cameras and baby oil and toys and you know what I'm saying? Whatever his situation, whatever his preference is, that's his preference. But to try to turn that into a crime by saying he made these individuals continuously have freak-offs. When these individuals attempted to leave or we don't want to do this anymore, Diddy, Brother Love, he will brandish the firearm and tell them, nah, you gonna do this. Or he would tell them, if you don't do it, you'll be blackballed in the industry. You won't have a career any longer. You won't work here any longer. All the way back to 2008. Now here it is, 2024, 16 years later. Now all of this information, alleged information, is just falling out of the sky. Because you got one individual that, came forward. Now you have another individual that'll say, well, hey, I worked around Diddy. I worked at Bad Boy. I worked at Shine John. I worked at Revolt. I worked at Ciroc, some of the companies that he had. So he touched me inappropriately rather. He tried to bribe me into doing a sexual act that I didn't want to do, but I'm not going to file a criminal charge. I'm going to file, no, I want that money. It's civil. So then now you got another individual. He does it. Now you got another individual. She does it. So it's 6 or 7 people that's come out of the woodwork and say, hey, I just didn't want to say anything. I was afraid. And guess what the public says? Oh, you're so brave. You're so brave. It takes a whole lot of courage. Yeah, it takes a whole lot of courage to make up a story. Something that allegedly happened 15, 20 years ago. But I need $2.5 million. Yeah, that's a whole lot of bravery, man. I'm not saying Diddy was an angel under any circumstance, by any stretch of the imagination. Like I said, I believe the guy's a jerk. But his name has been tarnished so much in the media. How can he ever get a fair trial? Oh, man, he had 3 ARs in his house. Okay. He's not a felon. This guy lives in a $50, $60 million house. This guy's a celebrity, an A-list celebrity. At least he was. So I can't have protection in my house, in my home. I ain't shot nobody. I ain't went out here and shot up no schools. I ain't did anything to any kids. I haven't done anything to anyone. But if you come into my home, I have a right to where I have 5 of my kids living in my house. But they're going to make him look like a monster because of that, because of the guns that they found in his house. That weren't even assembled. They were in different rooms. Because of the videos that they found. Okay, you may have videos of us, doing the nasty, getting our freak on or whatever. But unless those videos show that, okay, nah, you gonna stay here, you not going nowhere. Where's the crime at? You got certain states where prosecution is legal. You got escorts, you can call them in. And if him and his girl engaged in things, sexual acts, as far as he liked to watch her with other dudes, to each his own. If that's what he likes, if that's what she likes, how is that criminal? There's a whole lot of freaky stuff. Adam 21, he allows dudes to have sex with his wife. Everybody's into different things. Everybody's not into the same things. But how is this criminal? Well, the feds don't come for you unless they got something. That's true. But it's not what you know, it's what you can prove, Jake. Huh? You think my guys are going to believe you, Jake? It's just a bad situation all the way around the board. And at the time that I'm making this video, I know that P. Diddy's in court, or he was scheduled to go to court at roughly 2:30 p.m. He's fighting for a bond, asking, the mercy of the court to get a bond, because the feds is up to the judge. It's in the state, pretty much, if whatever you charge with, there's an automatic bond. But there's ways to get around that just as well. Look at the rapper Young Thug. If you're not familiar and you're curious, Google Young Thug. Guy's been in the county jail for 2.5 years fighting the case. They won't give him a bond. They won't let him out. He clearly gonna beat the case. People's clearly lying. Like, he's clearly gonna beat this case. It's just really been an embarrassment for the prosecution, if you ask me. But at the same time, they look at it as, okay, well, we're gonna drag this thing out. He's paying his lawyers millions of bucks, so worst case scenario, we got him for some money and we got him out of a few years. But no, they don't stop there. They don't stop there. Because if there's 2 things that can happen. 2 potential things that can happen. It's actually more than 2, but I'm going to give you 2 scenarios what can happen. Situation with Young Thug, and it can be anybody, but Young Thug is just the individual that I'm talking about. A rapper out of Atlanta. They got him with the state RICO Act, to where they're saying, it's murder, it's extortion, it's violence, it's drugs. They're a record label, but the prosecution is deeming them as a gang. Although they have tax returns and, of all the money and things of that nature, over all the years that they've been making money in the industry, they deem them as a gang. He's been incarcerated for 2.5 years. Kept away from the general public, so he's in a hole. He's in a room about the size of your bathroom all day long, 24 hours a day, 23 hours a day, for his protection. PC, protective custody. He didn't ask to be in protective custody. That's just what they do. If you're a celebrity, high profile, they're gonna automatically put you in protective custody, and there's nothing you can really do about it. If he beats the case, hip hop hooray, oh, hey, oh, if he beats it. But then when he walks out of the courtroom, the U.S. Marshal from the feds could potentially be right there waiting on him. Young Thug, turn around, put your hands behind your back. You've been taken into federal custody. Now the feds pick the case up. So now he's in jail, fighting the case, fighting the feds for another 2-3 years. Probably longer. Or if he has a mistrial, a hung jury, the jury can't come up with a decision. State of Georgia, Atlanta, they can come right back and recharge him all over again, and he has to go through the whole process all over again. They're not going to give him a bond. He has to pay his attorney fees all over again because it's a totally different case. Yeah, he paid his fees the first time. But now this is a whole different indictment, a whole different case. So now you owe us another 3, 4, 5 million, whatever they charge. Now he sits through the whole process another 3, 4 years. And that's how they get a lot of people keeping you in that county jail, because you get tired of being in that county jail. You get tired of when you have court and they wake you up at 4 o'clock in the morning and they shackle you down and you got to walk in kind of like a chain gang and you shackle, with some other individuals and you sitting in the holding cell all day long waiting to go back and forth to court. Then you finally get back to the jail. It's 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You've been gone. You've been up since 4 o'clock that morning, all because you had court. Then you go back and do the exact same thing next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however long, your court dates are spaced out in between. And it gets tiresome. And the prosecution, they know that. They use that as a tactic, as a tool. Now here it is. P. Diddy hasn't been convicted of anything. He's been accused, but he hasn't been convicted of anything. And the prosecution is arguing that he's a flight risk. They're arguing that he's a danger to the witnesses. Now, here it is. P. Diddy came back to New York on his own. Because a lot of people, to be honest, I never expected P. Diddy. I expected him to be charged, but I never expected him to be incarcerated. I thought either he would off himself, which I'm glad that he didn't. I don't want anyone to do anything like that, but I'm just keeping it real. I thought that he would take himself out, or he would just go to a non-extradition country and never come back. They never took his passport. He was free to roam and travel as he pleased. But yet he came back to New York anticipating that he was going to be locked up, and they locked him up. And him knowing that he was going to be locked up. But yet the prosecution is still going to argue because they want him incarcerated. They're going to make him seem like a monster in front of the judge. P. Diddy's been out for months. I'm not even going to say out because he was never taken into custody, but he's known who these individuals that are alleging that he did this and that for months. He's never done anything to anyone. He never was threatening anyone, but the prosecution is going to go to court and make him seem like a outright Freddy Krueger, Jason, Michael Myers or somebody. And it's crazy to have a judge, to have your life in the hands of one individual. And that's the judge, the magistrate. Is it what they call it? Magistrate, whatever they call it in New York. I just call it a judge, him or her, respectfully. Your entire life is in the hands of this individual that will decide if I let you walk out of this courtroom today. Obviously, he's going to have to surrender his passport. So where can he go? He's a public figure. Where can he go? Prosecution, man, they play a dirty game. The prosecution plays a dirty game, and it's a shame that they're able to go in and just charge an individual with something? Because there's always a way around what the law says. Understand that. The law may say this, black and white, point blank, but there's always a way around that. Going back to the rapper Lil Boosie. Last year, he's charged with having being a felon in possession of a handgun, a firearm. He's at a video shoot. Miraculously, the feds end up seeing the video on Instagram, and they pull his vehicle over. He's in California, in San Diego. They pull his vehicle over. They locate the alleged gun that was in his back, like in his hip. That's where he had it at, allegedly. They charge him with a gun, being in possession of a gun, firearm. He's trying to cop a deal with the state. He already had a deal in place with the state. Okay, I'm going to take this. I'm going to get probation. Y'all going to give me a year probation, what have you. Boom, boom, boom. They come in one day. They drop the charges. He's happy. He's crying. He's leaving the courtroom. Right when he walks outside, the feds is there. Put your hands behind your back. Charge him, take him into custody. He sits in the county for, maybe 2 weeks, close to 2 weeks, trying to get a bond. They finally give him a bond. The prosecution, they strongly are against any sort of bond, as though he can go somewhere. He's a public figure also. We're talking about having a firearm on you. You're an entertainer. You're not shooting people. You're not robbing people. It's for your protection. I understand you're a felon. But how are you supposed to protect yourself? The case goes on. He pays his attorneys a few $100,000, $350,000, $400,000. The case goes on, gets dismissed. They dismissed the case because it was a weak case from jump. He's happy. He's ecstatic. He's on vacation with his family, celebrating. He gets the call from his attorney. They want you to turn yourself in. They're recharging you. How they gonna recharge him? It just got dismissed. They went around black and white. What the book says, what the law says, there's always a way, remember, to go around it. Okay, the new statute says that even though you're a felon, you're able to have a gun, a firearm for your protection, as long as it's for your personal protection, but it's only if you're not a drug addict. A drug addict? Yeah, the prosecution is saying you're a drug addict. How they gonna say I'm a drug addict? I've been on bond with an ankle monitor getting drug tested for a whole year and never failed a drug test. So how am I a drug addict? Prior cases. Prior cases? I went to jail for marijuana. That's what I was in jail for. Yeah, Boosie went to jail for murder or what have you, but he beat that. At trial, he beat that. My convictions are all marijuana related. The same marijuana that's legal in a lot of states now. Now, obviously, you can't just be on the corner, selling marijuana from your phone or whatever. You got to go about doing it in a certain, the right way, if you will. But at the same time, how am I a drug addict? So now they was able to arrest him. They didn't want him to have bond once again. Prosecutors are, man, they ruthless, man. Can't say I'm a flight risk. It's been a whole year I've been out on bond, but yet they want my bond revoked and they don't want me to have a bond. So now he's going through this process all over again, has to pay his attorney another $354,000, $500,000. And it's just sickening how they could just come up with laws as they go. And that's how it works. They can literally come up with laws as they go. Facts. Like I said, P. Diddy, man, and then they say, oh, because you have this conglomerate, you have a big business, you're using your business and your business ties essentially to intimidate these individuals that you're making have freak-offs. You're making these individuals fly in from wherever they're flying in from. You're making these individuals come to the hotel wherever you're having these freak-offs at. You're making everybody do these things. 20, 30 people in there freaking. Nobody, oh, I gotta go. Oh, help me, please, help, somebody help me. P. Diddy's trying to get me. Somebody help me, please. Nobody does any of that. Nobody. Nobody, baby. Nobody. But when it comes down to that money, that Skrilla, that cornbread, that cabbage is Urban Dictionary for money. That loot, guess what? You're going to say whatever you got to say. He made me do it. I was just so afraid. I was so afraid that I just got with these 3 Mandingo warriors and I liked it and I came back 20 times. Well, I acted like I liked it. So I came back 20 more times, but I was afraid. Now, I'm not making light of the situation because no woman, no man should be forced to do anything that they don't want to do, especially sexually, but anything, period. Now you have this other individual that P. Diddy, the judge, because P. Diddy didn't come to court, $100 million? Default $100 million? You're thinking that P. Diddy is gonna fork over $100 million? But you got these fools that don't really know anything. Oh no, he got to pay that $100 million. First of all, P. Diddy got the top of the line lawyers, man. Top of the line. He don't just have your lawyers that, hey man, what you gonna charge me, man? $5,000, $10,000? Man, he got the top of the line lawyers. He probably pays that an hour. I'm quite sure that they have something in place. They're saying that P. Diddy was never served with the paperwork or what have you. So therefore, I don't have to come to court because I was never served. So this whole $100 million judgment, which they have 6 months to basically set it, that's going to be set aside. Paying no $100 million, man. People think that P. Diddy's broke. I don't know the man's financial situation, but I know he's been on the cover of Forbes for probably the last 25 years. Top of the Forbes list, or 1, 2, or 3, and they offer to put up a $50 million bond. That's what his lawyers have suggested to the prosecution, to the judges. $50 million bond, man. With electronic monitoring. So you all know exactly where he's at, when he goes somewhere with. And the prosecution, that's still not enough. We fear that, with the influences and the money that P. Diddy has and is able to raise, that's the type of language that they use, the type of money that he's able to raise. They don't even say money, they say capital and resources. They don't say money. We fear that he will leave. If he was going to leave, he never would have came to New York, knowing that he was going to go to jail. P. Diddy could have been gone, man. He's facing it. He say he's innocent. He's facing it like a man. Well, he lied. He said that. And then the Cassie video came out. Well, guess what? Whenever you're charged with something, everybody lies. And you know why? Because you plead not guilty. You can't go to court your first court date and say, guilty, Your Honor, I'm guilty. No, you have an arraignment. You can't plead guilty at everybody lies. Because if you're saying if you're saying not guilty, I didn't do it. That's basically what you're saying, right? Y'all jump in the comment section. If you're going to court and you're blatantly, clearly guilty of something, but you plead not guilty, aren't you lying initially? I didn't do it, Your Honor. Not guilty. So yeah, he said that, Cassie, he never said that he didn't touch her. And even if he did, I could be wrong. Okay, he lied. But I think he was more so talking about all of these other individuals, all these people saying that I forced them to do this and I did that. And no, they're lying. I didn't do these things. Now, because he had party drugs at these places, at these freak-offs, he used the drugs that everybody wanted, that everybody indulged in. It ain't like they was in there shooting up needles, party drugs, pink cocaine and all. And I don't condone drug uses. I don't use drugs. I don't even smoke weed. I'm no better than anybody else. It just never really been my thing. But when you're having these type of parties, you have these individuals, maybe not everybody, but you have people that like to indulge. So I would imagine that, P. Diddy makes the call, or his assistants, whoever make the call. Yeah, man, we, take that. Hey, check this out, Playboy. We gonna have one of these freak offs, So everybody shows up that's, with the freak offs. They know that they being recorded. They understand that it's being filmed. They understand that it's gonna be, coca leaves and cocaine and they understand that all of these things is gonna be there. And they come willingly. But then when they see everybody else getting money, it was like, hold on, man, he forced me to do it too. He forced me to jump on that plane. He forced me to come in and perform these acts. And then when I said, no, it's just not right, my friend, it's just not right, he threatened me and he pulled out an AR and said, are you going to get down? I fully expect him to beat this case. Unless they have some evidence that's, and obviously they have more evidence, I fully suspect and expect him to beat this case. Everybody thinks the feds can't, and I'm not saying anything bad about the feds. Trust me. I understand the conviction rate is 99% because most people plead guilty. P. Diddy's not about to plead guilty. He's going to be 55. What do you look like pleading guilty? He's taking this to the box, to the seat, to trial. I'd like to see what the conviction rate is as far as the individuals that go to trial. I know that it's still high. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying play with the feds. Definitely don't play with the feds. Don't play with your life, period. If you did something and, you find yourself in court and being prosecuted or what have you, you try to get a fair deal is, obviously you're going to try to beat it. That's just human nature because nobody wants to go to jail. But if it's a situation where you're looking at life and you know that you really did it and you don't think that you can beat it, don't be no fool. So you got two types of fools. You got a fool and you got a damn fool. I done been a fool, but I don't want to be no damn fool. It's okay to be some dumb, but not just plumb dumb. You better take that plea deal. But I don't see P. Diddy taking no plea deal whatsoever. I don't even think his case is really that strong of a case. Because a whole lot of he said, she said, hearsay. Nobody has come out and filed criminal charges against P. Diddy. Everything has been civil. So to strengthen their case, what they're going to do is they're going to charge other individuals, the smaller fish, to get the big fish. Don't be surprised if Gene Deal, the Gene Deal show. Yeah, don't be surprised if he gets charged because he's running his mouth too much, man. You're jumping on all these platforms, telling all of these stories that you witnessed, that you was a part of and being a formal correctional officer, parole officer, makes it even worse. You a former, at the time, was a parole officer in New York and didn't say anything. So how does that make you look? Now you're nervous. You from Harlem. I know you're really doing the Harlem Shake. Shout out to Harlem. Now you're really doing the Harlem Shake because you're nervous. You're shaking in your boots. You're shaking in your boots, Gene Deal, because that federal prosecutor, special investigator, there could potentially be more that's charged. You think they're not aware of you, Gene Deal? Do you think that you're not on their radar? Now, when I say radar, I'm not meaning that they're looking to arrest you, but they could be. They've seen your interviews. They've seen your threats, all the things that you talk about. You'll knock a person out and you'll gun a person down and you 6'6", 6'5", 300 pounds and you a beast, you a gorilla, you'll do this, you'll do that to an individual. They see your threats online, Gene Deal. Now, I got a partner that's from Spanish Harlem, man. One of my best partners in the world. And he said that he knows Gene Deal, not personally, but he's, for whatever that's worth. He said Gene Deal really was that guy. It was a, real deal. Like he's not to be fooled with. So I'm not on here disrespecting anyone. But I'm just saying that I'm more so disappointed in how I understand that Diddy did these things and you had whatever you all's relationship was, evidently it wasn't the greatest of relationships. But you ran this man's name through the mud. You heard me? But you just talked way too much. And you talked so much to where you may have talked your way right into a federal indictment. Now, it's not an indictment, as I mentioned earlier, to get you thrown into jail. It's an indictment, okay, you facing this, work with us to help us get him, and we'll let you go. That's the type of indictment it would be. But you just didn't have to say anything. But now you done wrote a book, you got merchandise, you got a YouTube channel, they got, almost 200,000 subs, you doing only paid interviews. So you done came all the way up off of one person's name, man. Smearing one person's name. But at the same time, you've put yourself in the line of fire because Well, Gene Deal, if you've seen all of these things, like you say, you 6'6", you 300 pounds, you a gorilla, you carry one in your ankle. You say you always keep a strap around your ankle, and then you got another strap. You're a former parole officer. At the time you were a parole officer, a sworn officer of the law, because, parole officer is considered an officer too. They can gun you down. They can, arrest you. They can do... And all of these things that you knew was going on, and you never did anything. You never said anything, but now you capitalizing on it now. I don't know, Gene Deal. I don't know. It ain't looking good in my opinion. But hey, I'm not like you. I don't want to see another individual, another man get incarcerated. So hopefully you don't. Again, I was highly disappointed in 50 Cent because 50's from the streets, man. He knows, man, there's certain things, okay, you take it this far, but then you stop. Once the people become involved, the police, the Fed, you stop. The trolling should have stopped. Or if you're going to troll, but now you on some, the things that you're saying is kind of like surviving Diddy. Seriously? You're going to do a surviving Diddy? Like they did R. Kelly? That's what got R. Kelly. Well, R. Kelly got himself locked up. That's the first thing. Accountability is the first thing. R. Kelly got himself locked up. But that surviving R. Kelly didn't help the situation whatsoever. So now P. Diddy, you can already do one on, or not P. Diddy, 50 Cent. Let's rewind it. For y'all that don't know, never seen my videos before, I do a manual rewind. So now 50 Cent, you're going to do the same thing? Or you're talking about doing the same thing, surviving P. Diddy? Because you all had some differences, some off the field problems. Come on, man. We got to start being better, man. You a rich, successful man, dog. But it's never going to stop. It's too much hate. It's too much. Not saying 50 Cent is. I rock with 50 Cent, man. There's a few people that when they talk, I really, really listen, man. 50 Cent. No particular order. Dame Dash. Master P. When these guys talk, like I really genuinely listen. But you got your Jay-Z's, you don't hear from Jay-Z. You got your people that's really, really at the top, and I guess I kind of see why, because the things that you say can really, really come back to haunt you. Now you got people laying the foundation for Jay-Z to be charged next. Oh, Jay-Z's next. He's next. Why? Why would you say that? What did he do? I'm not saying that these guys are perfect. I'm not saying that they're not. But I'm just saying, why would you put that energy into the air? Jay-Z's next. Messed up situation, man. Messed up situation. I'm going to go live later on this evening once I learn as far as, P. Diddy and if they gave him a bond. I suspect that they will. But it's going to be strict stipulations. He's going to have an ankle brace on, maybe a house arrest, 50 million. They may say $100 million bond. Oh, 50's broke, man. All these lawsuits, man, these people are settling out for $600,000-$700,000, man. Everybody thinks he gave Cassie $30 million. I was told that he didn't even give her $30 million. I don't know, because I don't know the situation, like that. But everybody thinks he just gave her $30 million. I don't even think he gave her $30 million. Some say he didn't even pay her at all. That's why the video came out. I don't know, but I don't think that he gave her $30 million. Everybody else, they're gonna settle for $500,000-$600,000. Even $1 million or $2 million. It's not going to break P. Diddy. Yeah, his lawyers are going to cost him a cool 30, 40, 50, 60 million, maybe even 100 million. It's not going to break P. Diddy. Well, he's not part of DeLeon. He's not part of Ciroc anymore. You doesn't erase the money that he's already made with them. I understand how net worth works. I understand that they say you worth 800 million. You may only have 100 million liquid. Everything else is, tied up in businesses and endorsements. And Diddy been making actual cash, like money, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 million dollars every single year for the last 25 million years. Money's the least of his situations. Well, why is he selling his house? Why is he taking out a different mortgage, second mortgage on his house? Because, think about it. If you got $500 to your name in liquid, for y'all that don't know, cash that you can, get to. You got 500 G's. But you got 10 cars sitting outside. You got 3 other houses that you never really go to. You got a yacht. You got this and you got that. materialistic things that you can get back. You got stocks, you got bonds, you got CDs. Obviously, you don't want to touch those things. And your attorney is going to charge you. You got $500,000 in liquid in the bank or what have you, which I would have that probably in a mutual fund but hey, this is not the financial channel. But you got access to $500,000. You can get it just like that. It's essentially what I'm trying to say. Your lawyer's just charging you $450,000. Do I want to take $450,000 and only leave me $50,000? And now I'm gonna go out here and sell one of these Rolls Royces or one of these, you know what I'm saying, one of these exquisite cars, foreign cars. One of these Maybachs, one of these, Porsches or Lamborghinis or whatever. I got 10 cars. I'll sell a couple of them, pay my lawyer fees, and keep my $500 liquid that I got. But people automatically that don't know about money, it's not like I really know. I'm not rich or anything by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm just simply saying people will, dang, he must be broke. He's selling his house. I got 2 houses. I got more than that. I got a house on the East Coast. I got a house on the West Coast. They both $50, $60 million houses. Hey, let me liquidate. I'm selling both of them. It's not like they paid off. Still a mortgage on the houses. So whatever equity that's built up into the house, and he's not, if it's worth 50 million and he sells it, for 40 or 35, 36, 38, 40 million, it's not like he's getting it because he has to pay off the amount that he owes to the lien holder, to the bank. But it gets me some cash and it gets me from under a mortgage every month. That's probably astronomically high. People don't understand that. And that's cool that people don't understand it. A lot of people want to see you do bad. They want to see you fail. People love to see you lose. They hate when you win. Oh, they'll clap. They'll act, bravo, bravo. They'll act as though, but they hate to see you win, man. But they love to see you fail. I told P. Diddy, man. I told him, man. Again, I know that P. Diddy was a jerk. Never been around him, but I can tell it doesn't take a genius to see that he was a jerk. But that don't mean he was a criminal. There's a difference. How many of y'all that got money? You don't even have to have money. You don't got to put it in the comments. Obviously, you're not going to implicate yourself. But think about this to yourself. How many of y'all have done some things that you weren't supposed to do? You got a little money. You ain't got P. Diddy money, but who does? You done jumped on list crawlers. Back when Backpage, was jumping off. Now list crawlers is the new Backpage. How many times you been on a business trip and you want to get you married, you got kids at home, but you way thousands or hundreds of miles away. You want to have your little fun, you call somebody, you bring them in or what have you. Do you know that that's sex trafficking? That could be considered sex trafficking. You crossed state lines and you jumped on Backpage or list crawlers and the girl comes through, an escort or whatever, and she comes through and she charges you $300 an hour, $1,500 for the whole night or whatever the case may be. That little money ain't nothing to you. You pay it, you have your little fun, you stay a couple of days, you got your little briefcase and your wingtips on and your suit and your tight suit and you handle your business and you go back home. Honey, I miss you. Hey, honey, and kids. They never know. You pay in cash. It's never a paper trail. Wife never knows. Do you all know that if you find yourself in a situation that let's just say something else has happened outside of that, and then they get to investigating, remember special investigations, and they get to investigating and seeing, oh, you did this and you did that. That could be considered sex trafficking. You really don't look at yourself as a criminal. You did a criminal act, but you didn't even know it was a criminal act. Oh, I'm not a criminal. I may be a cheat. I may be a no good, husband and cheating on my wife, but I'm not a criminal. Well, according to the feds, you are, because you cross state lines and you're paying people for sex acts. So be careful what you do and be careful how you judge people. Do the right thing simply because it's the right thing to do. Because when you're doing something wrong, you never really know where that road is going to lead to. Seems like it used to be to where they charge you with a crime. If you did a crime, but you didn't really know that you was committing a crime, okay, they would kind of be a little bit more lenient on you. But now they wolves. They like penitentiary, man. Lions, tigers, bears, gorillas, hyenas, goons, prosecution, man, they trying to get everybody's ass. Pause, double pause, triple pause. Be careful, man. And be careful how you judge people, man. Real Kens TV. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment. Definitely share. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And be sure to hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action and this heat, you're amongst the first to receive. People saying they're not getting notifications from my videos. I took a couple of days off or whatever. Sometimes you got to allow your mind to refresh. You know, these stories don't necessarily come easy all the time. You know what I mean? So sometimes you got to give yourself a couple of days. But I'm back. I'm going to probably do another story this evening. And I'm going live. We about to go hard. We about to go harder than we've ever gone. Real Kens TV, man. Free Diddy. I said it. I said what I said. And guess what? I can't take it back.